In the late 1990s, Troy learned that he had a son, Sean, from a brief relationship in 1969. For many years, he had been unaware of the boy's existence. Their reunion was profoundly emotional, providing him with a sense of legacy, as a friend recalled. Something genuine, something enduring. Then came the conclusion. On August 30, 2001, while at his apartment in Santa Monica, Troy Donahue experienced a massive heart attack. He was swiftly transported to St. John's Health Center, where he underwent emergency angioplasty and briefly exhibited signs of recovery. However, hours later, a second, more catastrophic heart attack occurred. Doctors performed coronary bypass surgery on September 1, but it was too late. Troy Donahue passed away on September 2, 2001, at the age of 65, surrounded by his loved ones. Although his death did not make the front page, for his fans, particularly those who had spent summers at a vacation home or admired his charm during weekends in Palm Springs, it marked the quiet conclusion of an unforgettable era. In his later years, Troy Donahue became a well-known figure at nostalgia conventions and classic film festivals. Older fans brought along scrapbooks filled with memories and tears. They did not merely recall the actor. They reminisced about the emotions he evoked in them. Now that his complete story has been shared, they perceive something deeper. A man who endured fame, addiction, heartbreak, and fear. "I am not ashamed of who I loved," he once expressed. "I just wish I had been permitted to love them openly." Troy Donahue's narrative extends far beyond mere celebrity. He confronted the limelight, the silence, and his personal battles with remarkable bravery. Ultimately, he offered us more than just films. He imparted truth. If his journey resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe for more impactful stories from Hollywood's concealed history. Thank you for watching. Donah's subsequent disclosures were not acts of betrayal, they were gestures of healing. He was not revealing identities for notoriety, he was honoring the truth, dignity, and love that had been kept in the shadows. Regarding his more public romantic entanglements, Troy's love life was equally tumultuous. He entered into marriage 4 times, with each union characterized by fleeting passion and lingering shadows. His first marriage was to Suzanne Pleshette, who would later gain fame for her role on The Bob Newhart Show. They crossed paths while filming Rome Adventure and wed in 1964. However, the fairy tale concluded swiftly as they divorced within 9 months. Prior to that, he had been in a relationship with model and actress Lily Cardell, which concluded in controversy when she accused him of abuse and took legal action against him. Although no conviction resulted from the case, the event severely damaged his reputation. In 1966, he wed actress Valerie Allen. This marriage also ended in divorce after merely 2 years. Donahue's battles with alcohol and anger frequently made headlines, rendering intimacy nearly unattainable. By 1969, he had married Elma Sharp, an executive secretary who was far removed from the tumult of Hollywood. This relationship, away from the public eye, appeared promising, yet addiction continued to haunt him. They divorced in 1972. His 4th and final marriage was to Vicki Taylor in 1979, a period when Troy had already become increasingly reclusive. They separated in 1981. All 4 of his marriages followed a similar trajectory: brief connection, emotional detachment, and eventual dissolution. However, his narrative did not conclude in sorrow. In the later years of his life, Troy Donahue found companionship with Young Chao, a talented Chinese-American mezzosoprano opera singer. Although they were never legally married, friends noted that she provided him with peace and unconditional love. With Jung, he was free from the need to perform, he could simply exist. Just when it appeared that his life had reached a tranquil resolution, fate presented one final surprise. The first name he revealed was Anthony Perkins, the intricate and gifted actor renowned for his iconic role in Psycho. Troy reminisced about meeting Perkins at a gathering in the late 1950s. He possessed a quiet sorrow. Troy remarked, "We connected instantly, but we understood we could never be public." The two would rendezvous in secrecy, often driving to Malibu, sitting in silence, and observing the waves crash. "We had to pretend, always pretend," he confessed. Both were bound by studio contracts. Both were matinee idols. And both were fearful of losing everything. The second name he softly uttered was Rock Hudson, a figure of towering masculinity, embodying the quintessential ideal of manhood in mid-century America. Hudson was not merely a star, he was a legend. However, Troy perceived the reality behind the legend. There were instances, he remarked, just fleeting instances. We shared an unspoken bond, something genuine. Donna did not refer to it as a relationship in the conventional sense, but what they experienced was grounded in shared fear and profound emotional connection. Rock Hudson faced greater challenges than most. Troy mentioned that if he faltered, the entire facade would shatter. These were not sensational tabloid admissions, they were sincere recollections from a man compelled to navigate two distinct lives. At the heart of it all was Donna, blonde, soft-spoken, the quintessential boy every girl desired and every boy aspired to emulate. Following this, roles came swiftly. He featured in Parish 1961, Susan Slade 1961, Rome Adventure 1962, and Palm Springs Weekend 1963. These romantic dramas, frequently set in picturesque locales, portrayed him as the quintessential American youth. He became the emblem of a generation, gracing the covers of Photoplay, T-Beat, and numerous teen magazines. At the height of his fame, he received more fan correspondence than any other actor on the Warner Brothers lot. However, times evolve and Hollywood adapts even more swiftly. As the 1960s ushered in themes of rebellion, war, and realism, Donna's innocent persona began to seem outdated. The studio system that had nurtured his career abruptly abandoned him. Job offers dwindled. The public craved edgy anti-heroes rather than beach blonde romantics. Meanwhile, Troy was grappling with personal struggles. Alcoholism infiltrated his life, accompanied by financial difficulties. By the 1970s, the former heartthrob occasionally found himself homeless, living out of his vehicle. Yet, rather than retreating, Troy candidly discussed his decline. He discovered resilience through Alcoholics Anonymous, where he expressed, "I could finally tell the truth." What he later divulged in life astonished both fans and historians. In private interviews during the 1990s and in a posthumously uncovered journal, Troy Donahue disclosed a deeply concealed aspect of his existence, his secret relationships with other men during his formative years in Hollywood. In a time when such admissions could ruin a career, Donna had safeguarded these romances for decades. What if one of Hollywood's shining stars harbored a secret that could have abruptly ended his career? Troy Donna, the charming heartthrob of the 1950s and 60s, was not merely concealing heartbreak. He was concealing a truth. In an era when authenticity could cost one everything, Donna gambled everything for love. Now, decades later, his revelation astonishes the world. He clandestinely dated 3 renowned actors, all of whom were icons of classic Hollywood. Who were they and why did this remain concealed for so long? Stay tuned. This narrative alters everything you believed you knew. He was not born as Troy. He entered life as Merle Johnson Jr. on January 27, 1936, in New York City amidst the lingering chill of the Great Depression. His upbringing was comfortable. His father was a corporate executive and his mother, an elegant former actress, introduced him to the world of performance. From an early age, Troy was captivated by the stage, the screen, and the allure of becoming someone greater. Although he pursued journalism at Columbia University, the allure of California's sunlit dreams soon became too compelling to resist. Like many aspirants before him, he packed his belongings and journeyed westward. In the late 1950s, Warner Brothers signed him, providing him with more than just a contract. They bestowed upon him a new identity, Troy Donna. Romantic, rugged, and marketable, just like that, Merle vanished. His breakthrough occurred in 1959 with the emotional film, A Summer Someplace, alongside the luminous Sandra Dee. It transcended mere cinema, it became a cultural phenomenon. The haunting theme song, the taboo young love, the generational conflict, audiences were captivated.